right? A lot. So my name is Anis Ansari. I'm a program manager on the Power Apps Maker team, but now mainly focused on authoring side of things, making sure that when you're creating apps, specifically right now model-driven apps, you create lists, which are called views, and you create forms to display records. To create a form and to author forms, you use model-driven form designer. You've been using an old classic one that we call classic form designer right now because we have a new kid on the block. And we want you to use the new form designer. So I'm going to show you all the problems that you guys have reported to us that we've addressed with the new form designer and how you can use it. As well as I'm going to show you the Canvas app side of things. So how you can bring the two together, how you can bring model-driven apps and Canvas apps together. So you have a model-driven form and you want to customize a specific area, how you can do that. So let's get started. So we'll go through the challenges and solutions real quick because this is a whirlwind presentation of a 2-hour thing. I'm happy to take questions at the end. I'll be at the booth and ask the experts almost all day today. So feel free to catch me after the presentation or at the booth or ask the experts. So here's the form designer for the model-driven apps. So you have a model-driven app and you're building a form. Typically you use the classic form designer. Some of the problems you have with this are like no data preview, your fields list is there, you can't search through the fields list, drag and drop is buggy, I can't see the controls, lots and lots of problems people have reported to us. Even something as simple as save and publish, you have to click save and then you have to click publish and save and publish, and people are like, why can't you just make that one button? So simple. So we've done that. And I'll show you a tour of that. So the way I'll run this is I'll just go through the PPT first to avoid switching. I'll go through both the areas because I want to minimize my switching time. I'll talk about the two areas and then I'll demo the two areas. Sound good? All right. So then here's the new form designer. It's coming soon. It's going to be GA in July. It's already in public preview. So you can go to web.powerapps.com and open the form designer even today. Soon we'll be launching it from various places as well. So if you go to the Solution Explorer, you'll see this starting to pop up. It's not there yet. To get to the new form designer, you have to go to the Power Apps portal. But you can see a lot of benefits. Each one of this I will cover in the demo. The WYSIWYG form preview, you see exactly what you're building and what your end users are going to see. You'll see control pane, no buggy drag and drops. Filter pane supports searchability, so you can search for fields. You have a tree view to see the visual hierarchy of the form. Lots and lots of goodness here. And switching to the embedded part, the challenges there were you have a model-driven form. Your form is driven completely off of metadata. You have a bunch of fields. You say, I want tabs, sections. You drop a bunch of fields in the tabs and sections, and the system takes care of it for you. That's great for getting up and running quick. But once you start going deeper, many times you hit this problem. I want to customize this specific piece of the form. How do I do that? And well, the answer so far has been you go create web resources, and which is HTML and JavaScript. So you are a professional developer, you open up VS Code, you write some HTML, JavaScript, or you hire someone to do it for you. You upload it in the system, you add it, it's a complex process. So we want to minimize that complex process or actually reduce that as much as possible. So what we've done is we have already a good solution for that, which is Canvas apps. You have a WYSIWYG editor. So we use that WYSIWYG editor. You can create nice custom layouts. You can select exact pixel perfect. I want this button in this corner here. I want this particular shade of blue. All of that is, you can easily do it with a few clicks, no code required, and you can pretty much solve many of your requirements that way. So of course, this will not replace each and every solution that you might want through HTML and JavaScript, but I guarantee you it will get you a long way. And even if you have to deliver solutions for your customers, you might be using this and saving a whole ton of time and money, both for yourself and for customers. So I'll go through each one of these in the demo as well. Another advantage of this is you have common data service and model-driven forms show fields from common data service. But we want to sometimes display data from other systems. Like I have a list in SharePoint, I have something in SQL, I want to put it right next to it, I want to pass some context, and I want to filter that data and show it to you. It's not easy. Today, you have virtual entities, you have other things, but each one of them have their own limitations. This one, we have 230+ connectors, as you know, in Canvas apps. So when you're building your Canvas apps, you can connect to 230 plus custom services and pull in data. If you don't find it in the list, you can create your own custom connector and pull data from your own custom service, and even that will work. So you can bring data and display it right next to your model-driven form. With that, let's switch to the demos. And my machine decided to sleep. All right. Let's hope I didn't lose my sessions that I had open here, but we'll take a chance. So here's a model-driven app. It's showing the contact form, and this is how the form looks to the end user. If you were building this using the old designer, the classic designer, this is what you would be working with, right? Nothing of this looks what the end user is going to see. Tabs there are horizontally placed. Here, tabs are vertically placed, and that's just one of the problems. There's a whole bunch of other problems that I listed, and all of that feedback you have given to us, and we've heard it loud and clear. This is the new form designer, right? If I close this field pane out and I zoom in, you can see exactly what your end user is going to see. So this is showing you exact preview, the same preview that your end user is going to see. You can zoom in and see some specific areas if you want. You zoomed in too far, you click this button, it fits it to your preview. You want to see what your form looks like on a tablet, you click this button, and this can show you a preview of what it's going to look like on that form factor. You want to see what it would look like on a phone. Same story, you can easily do all of that. I'm going to switch back to desktop, and let's zoom in to show you a few things, right? So now I'm on this field, and I change the label. You can see as soon as I click out, it reflects in the preview. So whenever you're making some changes, whatever you're doing in the property pane, instantly reflected. You haven't even saved the form yet. It's maintaining that state for you. As soon as you save, it's in draft state, and then you can publish it for the end users as well, right? So I'm going to get rid of this, and you can see that it goes away. Let me zoom out a bit, and I select this section here, and I can say I don't like this section, so let's hide it. So as soon as I click on that, the section goes away. Bring it back. You can even take a tab, and you can hide the entire tab. So any and every property that we put in there, you clearly directly see the effects of that property. That's the whole intent of this, is you are seeing what you're getting as you're building it. No longer are you building it in the old world where you're doing things and then you're keeping something on the side to validate that, hey, am I doing things right? So let's bring that tab back. Now let's see how you add fields. So I'm going to bring up the fields pane, and I have a bunch of fields here. I have searchability, and I can also filter based on my custom fields or all the fields that I want to see. So I'm going to search for my job field. I can take this field, and I can drop it exactly where I want it, and it gets added to my preview, and I instantly see how it appears. Let's say I want another one. I can take this, I can drop it on the side there, right? And you can see that it's there. So I'm able to add fields. Good. Now let's take this section here. The label is hidden, so I'm going to display the label for that guy. So now you see shipping information. I don't like it here. I want to move it to another tab. I can just grab it, hover over this tab. It changes for me. I can go and drop it there. And easy to move, right? Very intuitive, very nice. Now I want to add another section. So I can go to this. This is the controls pane. Eventually you'll see lots and lots of controls show up here. Even like arc knob, all custom controls, everything will show up here. So no longer hidden behind the controls tab. Go and find what controls are there. You will see all the controls that you have at your disposal and start using them right away. So I'll take the one column section and let me put it right below this one. So I get a new section. I can call it more shipping info. And now I want to add some fields to it. So let's see what shipping fields remain. I can even click on them and it adds it to the current section. So I just clicked on one field and it got added to the section. I can similarly even drag and drop it in the exact place that I want it to be. Let's go back to this tab. I want to show you something else. So I showed you drag and drop of sections. You can even drag and drop a tab. So let's say I want to move the notes and activities, or let's say I want to move general behind this. So I'm going to just grab it, and I get these targets, and I can just move it wherever I want it. I can even cut this guy. So I select the general tab again. I cut it, and then I select details. I want to, if I paste it, it'll go after by default. But what if I want to put it before? So I have a paste before action as well. So I can do paste before. So it's all simplified for you. Shortcuts are coming for this as well. So even with keyboard, you'll be able to do Control X, Control Y, and get around with that as well. Another thing I want to show you is we have a tree view. So you see a visual hierarchy of your entire form as it appears. Very useful when sometimes things get hidden and you want to find it. So it's hidden on the preview. This is a live preview. If something got hidden, it disappears. How do you select it? You go to the tree view and you select it. Even for selecting some other thing, right? Eventually we might add search in this, so you'll be able to search for an element. All kinds of features, that we've thought of in the backlog that eventually will hit. So here I am on the general tab, but what if I want to go on the details tab in this section and select that field that I just added? As soon as I click on it, my view changes and it shows you exactly what that field is, right? I can go and do that same thing again. I can go back. So very easy to find fields. And no longer do you have to click save and publish. So I made a bunch of changes, and typically you would have to go and say, when you said publish, it would say, but you haven't saved yet. You should save first. So you save and then you publish. And people complain loud and clear about that. So now we have a publish button. It is going to save. So we understand that when you publish, you do want to save and publish. That's the intent. So here I can just click on this publish button. It's going to save the form for you, and it's going to publish it for end users. And if I go and check out the runtime, then it'll have all your changes there. All right? So I'm trying to keep this quick, so I'm running through this, but I'm happy to answer all your questions later. All right, so that's it for the form designer. Let's switch to the Canvas app embedding. So for Canvas app embedding, right, I have built this embedded Canvas app, this visual gallery that you see. You're seeing an account record, and you're seeing the contacts of that account. Typically, you would see it as a grid, but I customized it to display this nice visual gallery, and I did it in less than 15 minutes. So you have your contacts. I can click on them, and not only is this isolated, so if I click on add contact button, I can bring out the quick create form, which is a model-driven asset, but I can still invoke it from my Canvas app. So it has that integration going on. That data is also flowing. If I was to expand this selector and I go to something else, then you see that the page refreshes. The model app also refreshes, and it will show you the contacts for that particular account as well. And then I have also the all contacts button, which takes you to the view. So you can navigate to a main form, you can navigate to a quick create, you can navigate to the views as well. So let's go and try and see how much we can build of this form. So I clicked on that particular record, and just to show you that you can go to the main form as well. So going back to this, now I'm going to switch to a form that I created for Embass. And you can see that it's the same form, but I'm displaying a grid where there's a gallery. So this is the default experience that people are getting, and now you want to customize. Earlier, you had to create HTML, JavaScript, go embed that, I think, as a web resource. Well, for nice things like this, you no longer have to do this. You can do it yourself. If you can build a Canvas app, which I think a lot of you can easily build, you will be able to do this right away. So one thing is, this is coming GA in July. Right after GA, we will enable this in the new form designer. Right now, it's still in the classic form designer, but we are actively working to move this and make this really easy in the new form designer. Once it's in the new form designer, you'll be able to drag a Canvas app control and point it to the Canvas app, and you'll be all set. In the old designer, because we wanted to keep it very, not disrupt too much in this space, we went the route where you would select custom controls. So you have a field. There are two ways to customize this. Either you can customize a field, or you can customize a subgrid based on what you want to pass to the embedded Canvas app. This is an account form. If I want to pass the account record, I'm customizing a field. If I want to pass a related record, then I'm customizing a subgrid. So if I want to see contacts, then I'll go the subgrid route, accounts, contacts, right? So if I click on change properties for the account name, the way you customize controls in this space is you go controls, add control, and there's a canvas app preview control. Again, to reiterate, this is very complex. This is something that we are simplifying in the new one. So in the new one, you won't have to do this. You just have to drag and drop the canvas app control. So you can add a canvas app and you can configure it, but let me show it to you from the subgrid point of view, which is also the same. So this thing here is a subgrid. I'm going to change its properties, and I'm going to say add a canvas app control. And you can see that the entity name in this case says contact, so you're getting a contact, and you're getting that specific view. And then here's an app ID, which is not filled in yet because I don't have any app that I'm pointing to yet. I can create one from here. So let me go and click this customize button. What this is going to do is it's going to launch our Canvas App Studio, which is the WYSIWYG Canvas App editor where you can pull lists and forms and buttons and all kinds of things and create that custom layout that you want. So once this is loaded, you will see that one thing special when you create apps this way, as opposed to just standalone Canvas apps, is you'll see that there is this object in the side in the tree called model-driven form integration. This is what is bringing the data from the form, from the host form, to your Canvas app. So this is passing the list of contacts. And by default, we put this gallery for you here, and it is getting a list of contacts. To prove it, let's just change the field. So it picked the first field, which doesn't have any data. But if I pick a field like full name, then you see that it is getting data from there. It's not filtering yet. This is intentional. For authoring, we don't want to filter because many times you may not have contacts. You still want to build the app, right? So that's why we just pull the top 10, top 20 and show you those. But at runtime, you'll see that this is filtering. Well, if I wanted to, I could just publish this right now. So switching back here, you'll see that the app ID is still empty. This window is actually listening for that other side to save and publish that app. So I go back here, and let me enable one quick setting here. So under app settings, under advanced settings, there is this experimental setting called enable app embedding user experience. This has nothing to do with this specific embedded app. This is a generic embedding capability. You can embed Canvas apps in Teams, Power BI, all kinds of places. All this does is it gives you a white background, and instead of putting your app in the center, it puts it in the left corner, so you get a nice UX. You don't need to do this. It's a purely UX thing and not specific to model-driven, but just embedding of Canvas apps in general. So I'm going to enable that because I do want that white background, and then I'm going to go and save my app. And I have a version 2. I can create a version 3, and I'm going to save. And this is saving, and let me switch back to that window. You'll see that this app ID here, as soon as that window is done, it's going to send the app ID back here, and you saw that it was listening, and that app ID just came in here. So now it knows which app you are connected to. So we select the web form factor. Phone and tablet are disabled because they are not supported yet. We are actively working to enable them, but they are not enabled yet. So I enabled it for the web form factor. I made my changes to my grid. I click OK, and I'm going to now save this form, the two-step process I keep telling you about. I have to save it, and then I have to publish it. So once I'm done, I can go back here, and if changes hit as expected, then instead of this grid, you'll see an embedded Canvas app, very basic, with just the basic gallery that we added. Okay. So once this loads, you'll see that it's going to show you the 2 contacts for that account. So already, you can just quickly, in 10 minutes, you can build a Canvas app and put it right there without any issues. But let me show you even further, right? So let's go back and make that pretty really quick. So I'm going to add a new screen. I'm just going to move it up because we are going to see the first screen by default. So I'm just keeping things fast. I'm going to insert a gallery. A gallery is a list of things that you want to display. I'm going to change my layout to say I want to see images. So I have that layout. So I select that layout. I just want to see 2 rows of images. So I change the size. Let me put it here. And right now it's mapped to a custom gallery sample data. Just that comes with the Power App. but I don't want that. I want my model-driven form integration, the data that is being given to me through my integration object. So now I do that. Well, you don't see any data. Why is that? Because it doesn't have any images. But let me put a label in here. So I selected the first item in the gallery, and it's saying, what do I want to show? So I'm going to, again, just say, show me the full name. And you'll see that the data is there. It's just that it doesn't have any images. And the way you customize the gallery was you just customize the first item, and it repeats for every other item, right? So I have all my data flowing in, but this looks very boring. It doesn't look good, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to display images in here. But my images are on SharePoint. How do I do that? That's a typical story. Your data is somewhere else, and you want to now mash that data and display it right here with your data from CDS. So let's do that. Let's go and put a data source. And I'm going to select SharePoint. I have this site created just as a demo. What I've done is I put some images here, and I have matched the email. So I have a primary email field here that matches my record there. So this is what I'm going to look up using. I'm going to say wherever the email matches, grab the picture and display it. So I'm going to copy this SharePoint list item address. I'm going to put it there. I'm going to say connect to that item, to that list. I want the contact list. So now I have that as a data source in my app. I can pull data from that SharePoint list. So now I'm going to go back to my gallery, and here, instead of the image, I'm going to say, you get your image from somewhere else. And the way you do that is you use the lookup function. So you look up from my contacts list, which is my SharePoint list that is now a data source in my app, and you match the primary email. This is the SharePoint field. This should be equal to this item, which is the current item in this gallery. And you want the email address from that gallery. So now I got that record, and I matched the record in SharePoint using that email. But I don't want that. I want the profile picture, because this is an image control. It is expecting an image. So I say profile picture, and you see that everything starts populating here from that SharePoint site. So you already got a nice, cool-looking gallery. You can go and do all kinds of things. So you can add an image. I can say it's too big, so I just want to quickly change it, 240 by 240, center it, and you get your image from my gallery that I just built, gallery2.selected, so whichever is selected in that gallery, get me the image and show it here. I want to make it look a little fancier, so I'm going to change the border radius property there. So I make it something like 120, and you get the nice round profile picture. I'm going to pull this gallery a little bit down here. I'm going to add another label, and I'm going to put it here. I'm going to say, you get your text from gallery2 again, .selected, .full name. So I'm getting the full name, right? I can just copy and paste this thing, and copy and paste again. And this one I'm going to set to job title, and this one I'm going to set to email. And then look pretty wonky, so let's make it, I multi-selected that thing, I said you all center, right? And then I want to reduce the height, I make it 50. And then I want to align them, so I'm going to say align center, and all of a sudden things start looking nice and pretty. And I make it bold. I make the next one as semi-bold, and I leave the last one as is. Already starts looking very much close to what I have there, right? So you can see that when I change it, it's already doing the things that I expect it to do. So I've added everything. One last thing you can do, you can add a background to the top. So you can say I want to add a rectangle. I pull this here, and you get these snap points nice and easy, so you can easily create that one. Now it covered everything, so I have this option in here in the tree view. I can go reorder, send to back, so very much like PowerPoint. So it makes it really easy for you to understand. I don't like this color, so I'm going to go and pick something else which is lighter and looks better. Sorry, I picked the wrong one. So color here, so it looks a little better, right? And then let's just do one navigation to just show you how you can navigate to the main form. So I'm going to say when somebody clicks on this picture, which is the onSelect function, you'll find onSelect on various things in Canvas. So onSelect meaning on click of this. So I have these functions available to me. You can refresh the form, you can save the form, you can open a quick create form, you can navigate to a view, and you can navigate to a main form. So I'm going to do navigate to main form, and it's asking me the entity name. You can see at the IntelliSense above, it's asking me the entity name. So I have contact, the form name, which also is contact, but it could be something else for you. And then it wants the contact ID that it should be opening. So I'm going to say gallery 2, again, selected, dot contact ID. So I'm saying go to contact, entity, contact form, and here's the contact ID that I want you to load. So I wrote that expression nice and quick. Let me get rid of this label, which is making things look bad. And we are ready to save and publish this. So I save my app. And this is in draft state, and I can publish it. So go back here, and I'm going to refresh this thing. So if everything that I did works, and if I didn't miss any step, you'll see that the app loads here, and it should show you that pretty gallery that we were seeing. And you can see that the color was different. I can switch back to the other one to show you that it will load it. So if I go back to my accounts and I go to this one, for example, it'll show me that contact as well. So sometimes there's a problem with the SharePoint images. It comes a little slow. But if I just reload this thing, let's see if that works. But you see that most of the other things should be working. The only thing is the image is not coming, which is a separate problem from embedding. Okay, let me change the record and show you that way. See, it came and it disappeared. Anyway, you guys get the point. So the last thing I want to show is I added a navigation to the main form on the image. So I'm going to click on that image, and it should navigate to the form that I specified with the person that I specified. Okay? All right, I think that's it for my demo. I think I'm a few minutes over. I hope you liked it. Please do use the feature. If you have any questions, then shoot me an email. Use the new form designer. Use embedded Canvas apps to create these custom visual layouts. And soon you'll see more and more features coming here, performance improvements, and all kinds of things are being driven towards this. All right? Thank you so much.